Hey, we are here and we are going to go over the guide on how to quickly and easily level your Seneschal Stones in a way that is very accessible to anybody playing the game as long as you're in the seasonal content. This is going to be something that's open to you. So when you go through the storyline, it kind of leads you to believe that you're going to basically go through the vaults, and that's kind of the best way. You do those things where you load up the pearls, then you get to the end. If you have any points left, you can open special chests. And that is a great boon, and where I started was doing a bunch of runs on that. I honestly don't find the vaults to be one of the more enjoyable features. I already had a problem doing nightmare dungeons, so I've been so many of them leveling up to 100, and it's the only way we had to level up our glyphs, that adding a vault, which is basically a nightmare dungeon now with traps that you have to cautiously tiptoe throughout, doesn't feel like what I think is true to the feeling of the Diablo franchise. It is about, in general, I think, becoming more and more powerful, figuring out your build, feeling like you're actually crushing through it, and then having challenges open up more and more, not tiptoeing gently through a dungeon with a bunch of traps. So I was really looking for a better way, and luckily, not only did I find another way, I found a better way that allows us to do this even faster, and has a bunch of side benefits that will add up very quickly, especially in World Tier 4 when you're trying to get your final build on point. This will help you an absolute ton. So in this video, I'm basically going to break down how the mechanic works, some ways to really optimize it, some tips that I've just learned from doing it a ton, and then what the side benefits are. Why is it so powerful outside of even just leveling your stones? Why is it just a great mechanism for pretty much everything you want to do with your class to get it to a crazy powerful state? I'm going to go over that. So first, we want to look at, okay, so what is the mechanic? When we go on our map and we look at the area, what you'll see is there's these things that look like Trio Whisper icons, and they have the little leaves on it, just like what we saw with Blood Harvest. They would have the events here. And these are a great indicator of, hey, this area might actually have a ton of people playing because there's the extra benefit of the Trio Whispers. And this is the Trio Whisper event. It's the Herald of Malphus, but these are the voltaic braziers. And then there'll be the voltaic obelisk that'll actually load in areas that are the seasonal areas. The areas that generally are affected or have these are the ones when we were doing the seasonal quests in the beginning, where we'd open up the vaults and have little missions towards. These are those areas. You know, there was so often that I just thought that it was everywhere, but it really was just because the seasonal quest was taking me to all these key areas. But when you come in here, and we'll actually jump in so I can show you it directly. I actually am loaded to my favorite areas. The reason I show you the marker with the Trio Whispers is one of the key elements of this is that a bunch of people are running it simultaneously. So it's not you just trying to get as many of the elements or the elemental cores to run your own. It's the fact that a ton of people will be in here doing the same. So one of the first things you want to do when you come into an area that has these braziers is you're going to want to open your map. So it's going to be zoomed out way back, but once you zoom in to this level where you can see the braziers and the obelisk, it's a lot easier to kind of maneuver these things and know where you need to be. Plus, when any of these braziers take off, then they are going to show a circle on this map and you can just run to them. So if people are loading up different ones. In this area, where basically the whole function is going to be around this mechanic, the brazier here. So the brazier, when you come on, you click on it, it'll tell you you need this many elemental cores and this many shattered stones. Shattered stones are obviously when you kill constructs, those little things that drop, and you can get a ton of them very, very fast. So when I come into this area, I am hoping that there'll be people like already doing it, but usually it takes, a few minutes of me kind of running around before enough people kind of collect in an area. So let me clear this so we're not being bothered. Okay. So what I'll do is generally when I come in here, so you're usually leveled, your map rolled out here. I want to zoom in and then I can see these little icons. Oh, that's actually perfect. See this where it's circling? This means someone else is loading this brazier. I'm just going to tag that and run over to it. So this is generally what you're looking for. And then I'll show you how to get elemental cores yourself after we run over and kind of target this one. So what happens is when somebody loads up the pieces, and I'm sure you guys have seen this, but in just case somebody is completely new, it loads up a series of monsters that you have to kill, and then finally it ends in a big boss. There's the big boss, the Herald of Malphus, and then he loads up, and you kill him, and he drops a stone. So this is where we are going to be getting our stones. And right there, so they're covering pummel stone. So that's the indicator we're looking for. So I'll keep checking my map and seeing if those circles, any of these are actually going off. Now, when one isn't happening, what I'll do is make sure that I am getting the elemental stones. So I will come here and I'll run to these obelisks. So it looks like those guys are staying there pretty close. So they might run again. So these are really quick. These are the only things I know besides the Son of Malphus that is like a guaranteed elemental core drop. So one just dropped there. I don't have to really clear these. I can just jump on my horse and then go to the next one. So unless I'm really doing it for leveling, I'll just pick another one. Oh, they're like way up. The areas that are like the event loaded, I generally have more of these and they're pretty tight together. But anyway, so I'll show you. So, but I would collect those. I'd run to each of the areas and mark around between sessions. Now I have enough to run it and these two people are here. When you see people around it, it also helps to keep the momentum going by also loading it yourself. So they're more, you know, there's more enticement for them to stay. I have like the place down here in Hawazar for this more often than not. But so as we're clearing these, there's a couple things that you want to kind of think of that'll actually help you either stay here longer and just kind of get the benefits of really focusing on getting your stones. The thing I mentioned of running in between sessions when there's not really anything going on, run to the obelisk and get those. That is one way. There's also the other things, like you'll see little markers, like event markers on the ground. There's those little like diamond shaped with like a dot in the center or something. Let me see if I can make one pop up real quick. So when you look for these features, there's these additional event items which will load more constructs and have a chance for the elemental stones, but the obelisks are going to be your best choice because they guarantee it. So as you can see, it's pretty nuts. What is going on in that area is just there's a ton of items dropping. There is a ton of stones dropping. You know, there's the shattered stones. It's just so much benefit to running this. If you're early in World Tier 4, this is probably the new way when I come into World Tier that I'm going to level up any class that gets to World Tier 4 with Ancestrals, because this just becomes nuts. So the additional thing that's going to come up in here is sometimes the Son of Malphus is wandering around, and he is extremely hard in the vaults, but he is the one that has the likelihood of dropping the unique stones that we really want to see. They're crazy powerful, and I haven't seen many people actually get them. But he roams through, and he does two things, not just the giving the chance for the uniques, but he also gives, I think, up to 6 of the elemental cores. So if you are doing this and there's a ton of people, and usually he seems to roam around one of these braziers, he'll come in, there'll be like 7 people here, and they'll all get 6 elemental cores. So, and then it just, that's a ton of runs, you know, for everybody. So then it just is crazy. Then you don't even have to go run and try to get the elemental cores right here. This one's still starting up, so I'd have to kind of level up. I think I have enough to do another round, but then you could keep doing it. So between the gearing, between the gold, between the stones, between the chance for the uniques with the Son of Malphus, and even more elemental cores, this just becomes crazy, and you just sit here and just kind of grind on it. So now let's go back to the town, because I want to talk about a few other things, because by itself, this can be pretty crazy, and you can push the levels pretty high on your stones. But where it really does kind of complete is this: once you have done this, you have gathered so much shattered stones that once you load back into town, I like coming to the Great Hall, the Gate Hall, sorry, the Gate Hall, and coming up here to the jeweler. You can do it to any jeweler, but when we come here, we open the Seneschals. I have 6 stones, so, or 6 caches that I can build. So what we want to do with caches is, most people have been making a mistake on this, and I have done it a lot. I realized that I probably have everything at level 10. I'm close, but I'm not there. If I had just followed this one thing I didn't know about. So all my governing stones are 10, but I still have a ton that are not 10 yet in my tuning stones. But this probably would have been the difference if I just thought about this. When you make the Seneschal caches, you go ahead and craft. I'm going to craft all 6. So what you're usually going to want to do is you're going to want the loot pinata, and everybody just kind of loads all of these caches. Now, what's interesting about these caches is that each one of them, they're actually balanced by what you already have. So if you already have a maxed stone, this won't give you one of those stones. So unlike everywhere else in the game, you pretty much can see duplicates all the time, which when you pick them up and you already have a level 10, it'll just give you more shattered stones. But it's way better just to get the stone that you actually need instead of the extra ones you don't. So when I open this, at this point, it is aware of what I have inside, or what I currently have at high levels. So now I'll pick up these 2. Now, if this was enough to level these up, the next one then wouldn't, see, it's still leveling up the multi-shot. The next one wouldn't give me a multi-shot as soon as any of these go to level 10. So obviously, Burning Spur just went to level 8. Obviously, it's clear that my multi-shot has not. So now it has. So now when I open the next one, no multi-shot. It's the other ones that I don't have. And so this can make it easy. And I've come out of like doing like 20, 30 minutes of those runs and having like 30 of these caches. And if I just known that, it would have made a huge difference. So now we kind of know the mechanics of the thing and some of the ways to do it directly. Now, what are all the side benefits? I've mentioned some of them, but I want to make them super clear because they can make the difference in World Tier 4 of getting you to a massively strong build very, very quickly, getting those Senechals you need without a lot of work. Is just a fantastic strategy. It does work throughout, so wherever you're gearing, it's going to work for you. So that first thing is just a ton of loot. You get so much gear, and you have just dropping like crazy while you're doing something else is very beneficial, which is leveling up those stones. It just makes you more and more powerful while you're actually getting tons of gear thrown at you. You're sorting through that, you're finding aspects you want. It's just all around, it's a really great thing. You're getting tons of money. There's just tons of gold dropping all the time. You're getting tons of those shattered stones anyway, so that we can get more stones. You are also getting just a ton of experience because the mobs are fairly dense. And you get the additional thing that I might not have mentioned yet, is that because you are clearing the mobs when you load these braziers and a boss loads at the end, there is a mechanic in Diablo 4 for most bosses that they have a chance to trigger this little like malignant signal or symbol on the ground. And what comes out of that is a monster. You kill it. You've probably seen it when you finish a Legion event or possibly when you finish a world boss. But that monster drops bossing materials, and obviously getting more powerful in the end game is still going to require a lot of bossing, so you need those materials to get your special uniques. On top of that, if you are bossing like crazy, you're also going to be wanting to run Hell Tides to get all your gear specced out like crazy. There is changes in this season to how the Hell Tides are running. There's no longer a way where you're getting to the top of the hour and the chest is moving from one place to another. When you go into a Hell Tide, the mystery chest and the living steel chest are going to be where they are the entire time. And even cooler, they're actually going to put a marker on it. But at the end of the day, you still have to do one thing in Hell Tides, and that's making sure that you have tons of cinders and you get them as fast as you possibly can to get all those chests open. And that's exactly what I do in this video. Outside the mechanics of how it was working before, the cinder strategies are still spot on, and you can gain a lot on how to move quickly through it and get a ton of cinders.